Hi and welcome to this YouTube video. In this video, I will be explaining what variables are and how we can use them in our code. So I just have these 7 lines of code that I had written earlier, and I'm going to be explaining what these lines mean, but I will not be going too deep into the explanation because they are not the main focus of this video. But in time, as you watch more videos in this playlist, you would understand what each line means and what function is performed. So we have the first 2 lines. We have this hashtag include, and then we have 2 angle brackets and some text in between the 2 angle brackets. So these are called libraries. A library is an external. You can just look at the library as some external code that has been written by somebody else that we can import into our code and use. So what this means is that we don't have to write the same code again because somebody else has written it, and we can just import it into our code and make use of it. For example, this first line include stdio.h. This library stdio.h, it means standard input output header. So this library makes sure that data can be printed out in the terminal, and data can also be entered into the terminal. For example, if I try to print something, if I say printf and I say I am a YouTuber, and then I put a \n here and end it with a semicolon. Once I run this code, you would see it prints out I am a YouTuber. Now the fact that data is being printed out in the terminal is being owned to this library. So this library ensures that data can be printed out in the terminal, and data can also be entered in the terminal. So the next thing we have is just this int main with parentheses and curly brackets. So just look at it as a container that can house a whole that can house a bunch of code or chunks of code. So what this is called is a method or a function. Now you can have several methods and several functions just like this in your code, but the main is different. Anytime you have a function named main, it means that every single code that is written inside that function is always going to be run. Now for example, I could have another function named void age or something like that, and I could just create a function like this. This in itself is a function. Now anytime the computer runs this program, the function that will always run first, and the function that will always run as a matter of fact, is this main function. So anytime you want to write any code that you want the computer to run, you must always write it inside the main function. Now there are also ways for you to create other functions and reference them inside the main function so that they can be called. But this video isn't about functions. In the future videos, I will explain what functions are and how you can use them. So I am just going to clear this out. Now to the main course of this video, variables. So what exactly are variables? You can look at a variable as a container for a specific value or a placeholder for a specific value. It's just like in mathematics, when you're looking for an unknown value, you would say let the unknown value equal x or equal y. X or y in that scenario becomes the variable, and then the unknown becomes the value that you are trying to assign to that variable. So as an example, if I wanted to create a variable and save my age in that variable, I would say int main. Now I'll explain why we're saying int. Sorry, not main, int age, and I would equate that to, let's say 67, and then end it with a semicolon. Now the reason why we're ending each line in a semicolon is because it denotes the end of a line. So the semicolon means, okay, we are finished writing for this line. And then these curly brackets also similarly mean the same thing. It denotes the start of a function, that is the start of all the code in a function, and then the closing one denotes the end. So back to the variable. So why exactly did we put int before the variable age? Now the reason why you put int is because in C before we create a variable, we always have to specify what kind of data type is being assigned to that variable. So what I mean is, the fact that we're assigning 67 to this variable means that we're assigning an integer to the age variable. So the age variable is going to house an integer. Now, because it's an integer, we have to tell C what kind of data type it is. So we have to say int first. Now in the next video, I'm going to explain what data types are and why we always have to specify what kind of data type a value is before we can assign it to a variable. But for the main course of this video, I just want you to understand what a variable is. A variable being a container that you can just assign a value to. So if I want to access this variable, if I would like to print this variable out to the terminal right here, what I would say is printf, and then make sure it's in double quotes. So once I do that, I will just say my age is %d, and then I'll put a comma here and pass in age, and make sure you end it with a semicolon. So why exactly did we pass in %d? This is called the printf formatting. So in order for you to print out an integer to the terminal, you have to pass in %d. If it was a different data type, you would have to pass in something else. So in videos to come, you would understand what this means and why we're passing in percent signs and what exactly this means. So once I run this code in the terminal, sorry, I didn't save it, so let me save it and clear the terminal. Once I run this code in the terminal, you can see it says my age is 67 and I am a YouTuber. So if I put a new line, \n stands for new line. So if you want to create a new line, you put \n. So once I run this again, you can see it says my age is 67 and I am a YouTuber. So I just want you to understand that a variable is a placeholder or a container for a particular value. Now we could also come over here and create a different variable, and we could equate that to my name. So I would say char and then name, and I would pass in, let's say 5, and I will equate that to AYO. Now let's end that in a semicolon. So what I have done here is I have created a variable and named it, and let me just change this to my name. I created a variable and named it my name, and I am equating that to IO. Now just ignore this this bracket and this 5. So once let me try to print out my name now. My name is, I would say %s, and I will pass in my name here. Now in future videos, I am going to explain what each of these things mean. So this error is supposed to clear out. So once I run that, it says, okay, let me assign this double quote. I think the error might be coming from there. So once I save that and clear out my terminal, you can see it says my name is Ayo. So basically what I have done now is I created a variable that contains my name, and I am printing it out here. And you can see I passed in %s because I was trying to print out a string. So in the next video, I am going to explain what each of these data types mean. The int is for representing that you want to assign an integer value to a variable, and then the char means you are trying to assign a character string to a variable. So a variable again is just a placeholder for a particular value that you are trying to save in your code. So thank you for watching this video, guys. If you understood or if you didn't understand, please leave a comment in the description and I would explain I will explain to you. And if you had any error, you can leave it in the description below. So in the next video, we are going to talk about data types and how they affect our code and how we can use them properly in our code. So thank you for watching this video, and I will see you in the next video.